Greetings. Gender-based violence and harassment remains an inherent issue within workplace environment in Sri Lanka, affecting women across both the business and the corporate sectors. Women entrepreneurs and women working in the corporates would continue to face challenges that can significantly affect their personal and professional well-being, confidence, productivity, and ability to reach their full potential. The Women's Chamber of Industry and Commerce has been working for many years to raise awareness on the importance of preventing GBVH and creating safe, respectful, and inclusive workplace. As Sri Lankan National Chamber for Women, nearly for over 4 decades of operation, wCIC continues to drive initiatives focused on engaging, empowering, and enriching women. I'm T Kumarakulasingam, second vice chair of wCIC, and have been responsible for leading the Chamber's policy advocacy pillar for the past several years, including driving this initiative, which we're going to discuss. In 2022, wCIC commenced the journey through an extensive qualitative and a quantitative research study undertaken as a part of the joint project with CIPE. The research sought to understand the prevalence, experience, and impact of workplace violence and harassment in Sri Lanka. The findings were significant. Awareness and personal experiences of such incidents were found to be relatively high among the samples surveyed. However, when respondents were asked about the action taken following these incidents, nearly 80% indicated that they had not reported them. The reason included fear of losing their jobs, being blamed or stigmatized, and concerns about consequences of speaking out. The research also clearly demonstrated that these experiences have direct impact on the women's professional lives. Many were unable to perform at their optimum levels because of the psychological and professional consequences of experiencing violence and harassment at workplace. Recognizing that their awareness alone is not sufficient, wCIC began exploring practical interventions that could help prevent and ultimately eliminate workplace violence and harassment while creating safer and more respectful working environment. As an initial step, we developed a code of conduct and workplace policy framework for organizations and began educating businesses on the importance of establishing the right organizational culture, systems, and practices. At the national level, the ratification of ILO Convention C190 emerged as a critical pathway towards strengthening legal and policy reforms relating to violence and harassment at work. wCIC has actively advocated the ratification of C190 through 2023, 24, and 25, while simultaneously continuing creating awareness on the initiatives across organizations. In parallel, wCIC partnered with the International Finance Corporation IFC to develop two practical toolkits on how to create respectful workplaces. One designed for the corporate sector and another one specifically for SMEs, including women-owned, women-led businesses. Several wCIC members, including myself, have been certified as trainers to disseminate this knowledge and build the capacity of organizations through this work. The training covers comprehensive range of areas. Firstly, we introduce what a respectful workplace is, workplace dynamics, forms of workplace violence and harassment, understanding the business case, preventive methods, identifying risks, remedial measures, a survivor-centered approach, focal points, reporting mechanisms, response on resolution models, imposing punitive action, and guiding SMEs with a roadmap. We have now commenced our roadshows and training programs, taking these modules into the organizations to build knowledge, skills, and institutional competence while supporting businesses in establishing the necessary systems and processes. As a next step, we intend to conduct audits of participating organizations to assess and validate the implementation of these practices. Meanwhile, the government of Sri Lanka has announced the ratification of ILO C190, with implementation plans activated to commence mid-2026. This announcement represented a significant milestone and a major achievement for wCIC, which has actively advocated the ratification of C190 for several years. With the focus now shifting From ratification to implementation, wCIC is aggressively pursuing initiatives to translate C190 into meaningful action within the private sector. C190, as a part of the next phase, we have developed a policy brief titled C190 From Ratification to Responsible Business Practices for the Private Sector. The policy document was developed as a deliverable under a CIPE grant project that concluded mid-2026. It was jointly developed by Attorney at Law Shyamali Ranraja, an expert on ILO C190, and myself, T Kumarakulasignam. The policy brief outlines practical steps that would be undertaken by businesses, government, and other relevant stakeholders to translate the commitment under C190 into effective workplace practices. The document has already been presented to key national and international stakeholders, including the Minister of Labour, the Prime Minister's Office, the ILO Country Office in Sri Lanka, ambassadors of the European Union, the UNDP country representative, and other relevant officials and institutions. Our journey is ultimately about much more than policies, regulations, and compliance. It is about creating workplaces where every individual, particularly women, can contribute their skills, capabilities, and leadership without fear, discrimination, harassment, or other forms of violence. We believe that these activities now being implemented will contribute toward transforming workplace environment in Sri Lanka and creating a culture of where safety, dignity, respect, accountability, and inclusion becomes an integral part of the way we do business. The journey from research to awareness, advocacy to ratification, and now in implementation demonstrates what sustained collaboration and policy advocacy can achieve. Workplace dignity is not an option, it is the foundation of every sustainable business. Thank you.